So it is possible within Trio and Artist to actually set up a crawl or a credit list, if you will. And to do this, what we're going to do is set it up in Artist and then take it into Trio and actually use Trio as a template-based system that we can then add more and more names to. So first thing that we're going to do is just find a folder where we want to work in. I'm going to create a new scene here. So I'm going to right click within this window here and say create new scene. Now let's say that this is going to be our credit crawl or our credit list or something. So we're just going to click OK. I'm going to come in here and double click it to open up the scene. Again, first thing I'm going to do is to add a group here. I'm not going to worry about naming it. I'm just going to let it as is. And then we'll go back into our server here, into our fonts, and try and find some font that we want to work with. So I'm just going to grab a regular font here, and I'm just going to set it up. And I'm just going to keep the font right in the middle. So I'm just going to line it up right there, and I'm going to come into the text editor and retype something. So let's just say name here. So first and last name, we could switch out with that. Here, you may want to have a little bit of foresight and say, how do I want our crawl or credit list to line up? So if I want to always be in the center, I'm going to orientate my name to the center here. And actually, if we wanted to add another smaller font here, we could scale this down. And let's say maybe this was for what position they held or something. So we could type in another word here. We'll just say position. If we want it lowercase, we can do that. Or uppercase, it doesn't matter. We can always change that in Trio. So the next thing that we'll obviously need is some control objects. So we have two text parameters here. I'm going to go into my control plugins here. I'm going to drag text 1 on here. Click on that. Field ID 1 is fine. If I want to change the description, I can. So I can just put like name in here. Now I also want a controlled text on our next line of text. This one is going to be field ID 2, and maybe we can put like position in here as the description. So once I'm pretty confident that this is all set up, what I'm going to do is just save this and go on to On Air and take this into Trio to test it out and to set up the template. Once in Trio, what I need to do is actually import that scene we just created. So I'm going to go into the import scene section here, navigate to the folder where I saved my last scene that we just set up, and here you can see we have credits. So again, I'm just going to double click it, or I can highlight it, click import, or I could just drag this scene over into the window here. Now I'm just going to double click it, and you can see that we have two options here in our tab field. We have a name that we can change, and we also have a position that we can change. Why don't we go ahead and save a couple of pages off of this. Here I can just add some numbers. We'll add name 1, position 1, and we'll just resave this. That's 1,000. Now I can come in, we'll add position 2, name of person 2. We'll save that page off. We'll call it 1001, and let's do one more. So this will be name 3. This will be position 3. We're going to save this one. This is 1002. I hit enter, and it saves that page. Now we actually need to set up the template to use this crawl. So again, I'm going to use the drop-down box here, and we're going to create new scroll, and we can give this template a name. So again, maybe we'll call this credits. Again, we can navigate to the scene directory here. So we go into the artist path and select which folder that we want to save our template in. We can also give it a template description. I'm just going to keep it simple again and call it credits. Again, scroll area width, we can set up. Scroll area height, we can also set up. So I'm just going to leave it as is. I'm going to turn the show scroll area off, and I'm going to go ahead and just save this template now. Now over here on the left, it shows us our template. So if I double click it, here's the window. And now all I have to do is slide my pages over. So there's our first name and position 1. Here's our second name and position 2. Here's our third name and position 3. From here, all I need to do is go into my scroll configuration and set up. So under the direction, I have up and roll. So that's the one that I want to keep it at for now. Spacing, as I adjust each one of these out here, you can see how it's starting to adjust. We also have a speed, so I'm just going to leave that as 1 right now. I can turn on the loop. Since we don't have that many names, we can just keep playing over and over. And now once I hit start, you can see how it takes these names and the positions and or the scene that we set up in Viz Artist and actually scrolls these up through the screen. So again, if we want to increase the speed, we can just come up and increase the speed with it as well. If you don't want it to go up, there's also an option for it to go down. So if you need it to go the other way, it can go down. And again, the other options that we have are our live scroll controls. So if we go in here, this will actually send it out to air. You can use these buttons or these below to actually trigger the animations on air.